The spookiest month of the year is upon us, and for many that leads to countless hours searching through every streaming service known to man just trying to find something to watch. Every now and then you may find that one golden nugget in the heaping pile, but for the most part you're left searching endlessly for hours. But fret not, dear viewer, because Agents Mulder and Scully are on the scene, and today we're going to look at 15 X-Files episodes perfect for Halloween. Detour. After the death of a couple surveyors in the woods and the missing body of a hunter, Mulder and Scully skip a team-building seminar and help investigate the case. Upon their investigation, they find there's something in the woods stalking the nearby residents, going after the strongest members first while leaving the weak behind. Whatever it is, it appears to be invisible with glowing red eyes, and if you couldn't figure out what they're going for with this one, at one point a little boy is watching the classic Universal horror film The Invisible Man. Detour boasts some creepy atmosphere, especially during the nighttime scenes, and the look of the creatures is definitely unsettling. There's also a tense moment when the agents are tracking the creatures with some heat vision technology, only to be split up and outsmarted, leaving the viewer to wonder who may end up next on the menu. Familiar. One of the few bright spots of the later seasons, Familiar starts almost like a Stephen King novel. You've got a little boy in a yellow raincoat who spots the real-life version of his toy, Mr. Chuckleteeth. As if Mr. Chuckleteeth wasn't creepy enough, then you got these Teletubby knockoffs that look like they came from the depths of hell. After the body of the little boy is found, claimed to have been killed by some kind of animal, the agents are called in to investigate. What you end up with is an episode full of creepy characters, a dark secret, and possible witchcraft that has rocked one small community to its core.
Play with me.
Squeeze. One of the most recognizable episodes in the series and one of the creepiest. Squeeze takes our agents on an investigation dealing with murders where the liver from each victim appears to be extracted by hand. We are introduced to Eugene Victor Toombs, a freak of nature that is capable of stretching and contorting his body in ways no human being could ever imagine, giving him the ability to get anywhere at any time. There really is nowhere you can go to hide, no safety of a locked door, because Toombs could be anywhere. And it's not even just the fact he's this weird cannibal mutant thing, he's just creepy to look at. I mean, look at those beady eyes. It also doesn't help that the actor playing him is also kind of a creep. Roadrunners. Roadrunners is like the writers looked at the episode Ice and went, hey, remember that gross worm thing? What if we made it 20 times the size and even more disgusting? You have Agent Scully who arrives in some small town run by a religious cult, where she finds a hitchhiker with some giant disgusting worm in his back that these people seem to think is the second coming of Christ. The worst part of it all is they take the worm and place it inside Scully's back. This one definitely veers more into the disgusting territory, almost feeling like some weirdo body horror shit David Cronenberg would have thought up. It's weird and gross, but not a bad choice for Halloween viewing.
No.
Shapes. Now you can't have a little Halloween marathon and not have a werewolf. Shapes takes Mulder and Scully to a native reservation where brutal killings are occurring by a beast they call the Manitou. Although it's not a Manitou, it's a goddamn werewolf. This one is a little light on the plot, but it makes up for it in atmosphere and scares. You can't go wrong with a pale moonlit night and a werewolf on the prowl. You even get a fun werewolf transformation scene with some pretty well done special effects that really hold up. There's not a whole lot to say on this one, it is fairly generic werewolf stuff, but it still makes for a good watch on Halloween. Unruhe. Unruhe is a very creepy episode. After a girl's boyfriend is killed and she is kidnapped, a photo of the girl is found distorted, showing the moment of her disappearance. This of course brings Mulder and Scully on the case, where the idea of psychic photography is brought up and a crazed man is caught who claims the distorted images are of these things called howlers, which he claims he's saving people from. The crazed man is very unnerving, and the way his eyes just shift back and forth really makes you wonder just what the hell is going on in that head of his. There's definitely some good creepy stuff in this one.
She's safe from the howlers.
The postmodern Prometheus. Now I can already hear people typing away about this one, but I never said the episodes had to be scary to be worthy of a Halloween watch. This is definitely more on the comedy side of things, but the mood and atmosphere is definitely a play on the 1931 horror classic Frankenstein. You have a mad doctor conducting genetic experiments, and a monster who isn't the one that is actually the monster. The episode is also really hammed up with the over-the-top acting, and the black and white is a nice touch. There's a little bit of controversy with the content in this one, but I think it's usually misunderstood, and the bad guy does get his at the end. If you want something a little more on the silly side with some respect shown to the old crazed scientist horror movies of the 1930s to 1950s, then this one is definitely worthy of a Halloween watch.
What's that sound?
It's the Great Mutado.
Grotesque. Grotesque is an often overlooked entry, but oozes creepiness. After a male model is killed by an immigrant from Uzbekistan, Agent Mulder is called in because the man claims he was possessed by a gargoyle that made him kill. This leads to Mulder becoming obsessed over the gargoyles, making Scully and those around question whether Mulder may be involved in some capacity. The episode is very dark, not just in tone, but setting as well. Everything is always darkly lit, and you always have these images of gargoyles along the walls or sculpted out of clay. The images of the gargoyles only add to the creepiness of it all, and Mulder's nightmarish visions of these things really stand out as well. While not one of the best episodes on this list, it's still very solid and comes oozing with atmosphere. Die verletz. You really can't have a Halloween marathon without evil incarnate, can you? That's right, Die verletz is all about Satan. Satanic worshippers to be exact, and a dark force that may have been summoned due to their own negligence. Satan really doesn't like half-ass worshippers. Mulder and Scully are brought in when a young boy is killed, his heart and eyes are ripped out, and town rumor says it may have been from a satanic cult. This episode has everything you want for a good spooky time. You've got evil chanting, spell casting, thunderstorms, dollar store skeletons, and whatever the hell is going on here. The episode starts a little light with raining frogs, but gets real dark real quick. A very solid outing if you're looking for some chills this Halloween. Millennium. Zombies and Halloween? It has to be the greatest combination since someone decided to add peanut butter to chocolate. Well, if zombies are your thing, then the X-Files has you covered. Millennium is a crossover episode between the X-Files and the series Millennium about a coming zombie apocalypse that will take place at the dawning of the year 2000. You've got what is basically a necromancer raising the dead, which will act as the four horsemen of the apocalypse, and Mulder, Scully, and Frank Black need to work together to put a stop to it. You get some fun stuff with Scully having a one-on-one with a zombie, and Mulder and Frank fighting off more during its climax. It's a decent episode with some fun scares thrown about, and almost starts to feel a little Evil Dead near the end. This one is definitely worthy of a little Halloween watch. The Host. Alright, we had to get some fun radioactive monsters in here somehow. The Host takes us to the sewers as a half-man, half-fluke worm terrorizes city workers and US Marshals. The Fluke Man, as he's come to be known, is a really disgusting monster and one of the show's best. It was the result of the Chernobyl disaster and reproduces by injecting eggs into its victims through its bite. One particularly gruesome scene has a guy in the shower spit up one of its offspring, and yeah, you really don't want to be eating during this episode. I mean, this was one of the grossest episodes when it came out. Even when Scully does an autopsy on a body, you see one of its babies, and it's so damn gross. But the Fluke Man is a fantastic creature design, and I would put it up there with the greats as far as design and concept are concerned. Another great classic episode that is always fun to spring on someone that has no idea what's coming. Folie deux. Have you ever been at work and thought, wow, my boss sure is a monster? Now what if your boss actually was a monster? Well, then you're in the same spot as the guy in Folie deux. Now working as a telemarketer is bad enough, but seeing your boss as some insect-looking creature that only you apparently can see would be a nightmare. So to prove to all his coworkers he isn't insane, he holds everyone by gunpoint to try and make them see what he does, which is where Mulder and Scully come in. And of course, out of everyone there, Mulder appears to be the only other person capable of seeing this thing. The episode is overall really good and tense. The monster, while being a giant insect, always has this distorted look that makes it look really creepy and weird. I think this is another episode often overlooked and definitely worthy of some spooky October viewing.
Get out of the way! No! Look at him! Stop! Look at him! Listen to me! Look at him!
Sanguinarium. This next one will have you second guessing of whether that little nose lift is truly worth it. Sanguinarium places the agents in the middle of a plastic surgery unit where the doctors are performing some truly horrific procedures while seemingly under the control of some witchcraft. This one definitely relies more on its gore and bizarre deaths, which can either be a detriment to the episode or elevate it depending on how you like your horror. I mean, the opening scene where the surgeon aggressively liposuctions a patient to death who wasn't even there for liposuction is truly disgusting. While not one of the strongest episodes, it still has its moments, and I think it's definitely worthy of a watch on the scariest night of the year. Bad Blood. Let's see, we have the Invisible Man in Detour, Gillman in The Host, Frankenstein's monster in the postmodern Prometheus, Wolfman with shapes, so I guess we can't go without our Dracula replacement. Now, Bad Blood is another funny episode, but it still manages to have some atmosphere to it. Plus, we need some vampires for Halloween, and the episode 3 isn't nearly as good as this fan favorite. You have both agents recollecting their versions of the events that transpired after Mulder mistakenly kills what he thought was a vampire, only for the body to disappear from the morgue, proving Mulder may have been right. There's a lot of fun gags and some recognizable faces throughout, but even though it's more on the silly side, I still think it fits right in with a good old Halloween watch. Home. I really don't think I could do a list like this without including Home, otherwise people would be coming for me with torches and pitchforks. The only X-Files episode in history to be banned, well, it wasn't really banned, it was removed from re-airings, as the content was thought to be too much for the everyday viewer, until Fox brought it back in 1999, just in time for a special Halloween airing. Home definitely takes inspiration from The Hills Have Eyes and other films like it, so if you've seen those or know about them, then you should know what to expect. You have a special family that keeps to themselves, until they don't, and that's when Mulder and Scully arrive on the scene. I really don't want to say too much for anyone that hasn't seen it, but if you have, then you already know. Home is a rather brutal and disturbing episode, and one that isn't just a recommendation for Halloween, but a must-watch. I also want to give special mention to the episode Ghost in the Machine, not because it's particularly spooky or anything, it's actually rather dull. But no, it appears to be the only episode in the series on or around Halloween. And how do I know this? Well, there's a little plastic pumpkin in the beginning with candy. Anyways, that's 15 X-Files episodes perfect for Halloween. Did I leave any out? Let me know down in the comments what episodes you enjoy watching this time of the year, and maybe I can do a second list next year. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you all have a great Spooktober.
You gotta love this place. Every day's like Halloween.